Now, a story you're seeing only on Nightcast. Hundreds of thousands of addictive prescription pills flooded the streets in the aftermath of George Floyd's death. We're talking about legitimate pills, painkillers, opioids, drugs that are ripe for abuse. The prescription drugs were locked up inside pharmacies all around the Twin Cities until looters broke through windows, carried out safes, and in some cases burned whatever they left behind. The DEA now tells 5 investigates that this sudden influx in pills will likely lead to a spike in overdoses. Investigative reporter Ryan Raish has the story.
CUB Pharmacy.
When Elias Uso started his small independent pharmacy just over a year ago,
Here's your prescription.
he envisioned a neighborhood shop where customer and owner are on a first-name basis.
One of those old pharmacy, the mom and pop's pharmacy, that you go and talk to your pharmacist about anything. Hey, how are you today?
Before Seward Pharmacy could even celebrate its one-year anniversary,
This is the part that it was burned.
looters hit his store and dozens of other pharmacies, shops, and restaurants up and down Lake Street.
It's just totally destroyed.
Uso helplessly watched security footage from his home the night of May 27th as a group of looters broke in and ransacked his shop.
What's going through your mind when you see what is your livelihood just being destroyed
Overnight. It was horrible. I don't know, it was just really horrible.
Once the dust settled, he found his inventory of prescription drugs destroyed. Thousands of pills stolen, including a locked safe holding some of the strongest narcotics available.
I'm worried, actually. I'm worried that this medication is on the street, that it will probably harm some people unintentionally. And unknowingly people may take it, it may harm them.
The thousands of addictive opioids taken from Seward's pharmacy is in fact only a fraction of the prescription drugs that went missing during the riots. 5 Investigates has learned at least 20 pharmacies all over the Twin Cities, many on that yellow line, which is Lake Street, reported losses to state and federal officials. These are pharmacies that were looted for hours. A few even burned to the ground.
How many opioids or these addictive pills do you think flooded the streets?
We lost approximately in Minneapolis-St. Paul area 1 million dosage units. So that gives us a wholesale value of about 3.4 million with a street value of maybe 13 to 15 million.
So put that in context for me. I mean, how big of a flood of pills is that on the streets? Is that a big deal?
It's a huge deal, yes, of course. Of course it's a huge deal.
Angela Van Trytak is the Assistant Special Agent in charge for the Drug Enforcement Administration in Minneapolis. She admits in the wake of the riots, the agency became overwhelmed that week. Some pharmacists even called the DEA, desperately hoping to unload their stock of controlled drugs to keep them safe. But the DEA turned them down because they can't legally take them.
Has the DEA ever experienced anything like that all at once?
Not all at once. This has been a very, very unique experience for the DEA Minneapolis office.
Do you think the theft of all these pills could lead to more overdoses and deaths around Minnesota?
Absolutely, absolutely.
This coming at a time when overdoses have spiked by as much as 40% around the country during the pandemic.
I don't know that we actually have words at this point.
Sarah Durr runs the Minnesota Pharmacists Association. Right now, the trade group is focused on helping drugstores get back up and running.
This is something that is completely unprecedented. It has gone to, this is crazy. This has gone to, I don't know how we can recover.
Recovery is slow, but it's happening.
I did feel it for you in the past, right?
Uso just reopened Seward Pharmacy last month after being shut down for most of the summer.
We're back in business. So that feels good. And the neighbors are just coming to support us.
As Uso rebuilds his livelihood, he's hoping the community gets the message about the powerful drugs that may now be on the streets.
If it's not prescribed for you, do not take it. It's going to harm you.
There are several active investigations ongoing right now to search for the people responsible for the looting at Twin Cities pharmacies. Since some of these pharmacies were burned down, DEA officials may never know the exact number of pills that made it out into the streets, Kevin.
Ryan, good old-fashioned reporting led you and our investigative team to this story. Explain to our viewers how it happened.
Well, we started to hear about the impact to one pharmacy here, and there we just started asking questions about how many stores were actually looted, and we were just blown away by the scale of this. Again, more than 20 pharmacies impacted by the looting and riots all over the Twin Cities, as you saw there in that map.
Yeah, really in an unprecedented situation, as you mentioned. But looking back, anything the pharmacists could have done differently?
Well, you saw that even the locked safes didn't deter criminals from stealing opioids. Some pharmacists I spoke to are exploring more secure options. In fact, Angela from the DEA hopes some pharmacies will look at this as a rebuilding after a tornado or a hurricane. Instead of building a concrete storm shelter, they could consider a vault for the most valuable prescription drugs.
Wow. Unprecedented, though, truly. That's very interesting.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Ryan Ray.